Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again, and I'm gonna try something for you guys. I'm feeling a little bit Pokemon, and I thought I'd just watch a video on the top, at least this guy's opinion, top Pokemon games. Now he's called Straw Hat. What is it? Straw Hat Midas. And I saw he has a longer video ranking all of them, or at least the mainline games. So, and I was originally going to do that, but I want to keep the video short and everything. And he did one a year before, so let's review that. If you want me to do the longer one, let me know, and let me know in the comments below. So, yeah. Not much to say about Pokemon, obviously, so let's just get into it. And remember, please, smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for my latest reactions to my latest videos. And let's do this thing, y'all.
I'm ranking every main series Pokemon game from worst to best. The worst games are Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Get him! No, please,
What?
I still haven't spoken to a girl yet.
These games aren't inherently bad. They're absolutely playable, and if you like them, I understand why. They are just the worst way to play the Sinnoh region, and they were a disappointing game from the start.
Really?
This game ended up feeling like a DS experience on the Switch with a full price tag.
No.
There are a lot of things I still like about these games, though. I like how flushed out the underground is, and I like how they made it a lot easier to catch certain Pokemon.
You know, but to be fair, I felt like the Sinnoh region was a little tedious to play. It didn't really get that great for me until like the end, when you end up in basically the upside down. But because I remember the whole Sinnoh region, or these games just felt tedious to me. You know, I don't know why, and it's really weird because Heart Gold and Soul Silver were amazing to play through, and I don't know. This one was good. This one was good, but like I don't know, just felt a little tedious.
But that's where the pros start to end, because this game had so much potential, but it ended up being too faithful of a remake. With a little more time and a little more content, I guarantee this game could have been way higher on the list, but it ended up feeling so flat, especially when you compare it to other games, that it has to be the worst. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are
Totally forgot about
weird.
these.
I didn't think that it was possible to get a Pokemon game worse than these on Switch, but it happened. It made a lot of sense for them to capitalize off Pokemon Go's success and pull those people over to the Switch. But this game just isn't it. This seems like a good introductory game for kids who have never even heard of Pokemon, but for people who've been playing for a while, it's just so bad. This game does have some good things though. I think it looks really good visually. And I like how they made it so your starter can use the HM, so you don't have to dedicate a full Pokemon to being an HM slave. If they had taken the art style for this game, got rid of the overworld encounters, and used this as the base for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm sure these games would have sold like hotcakes. Pokemon Sun and Moon's biggest crime is being overall decent. I like the Alola region, but I have no reason to play these games since they made Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon so much better. These games just feel like they're lacking anything appealing, and they fixed that with the other titles. I'm a certified Team Skull hater. I don't like them as a villain organization. I don't think they're the worst, but in this game especially, I just did not like them. I like how they didn't take themselves too seriously, but I think that they could have done it in other ways to make them more appealing. But I like the Aether Foundation, and I like how they contrast them so well, so they get a pass. I also like the Ultra Beasts. I think they were a good idea. I didn't like Z moves all that much either. I think they were a swing and a miss. They had to follow Mega Evolutions.
I never played
so I can't
this
fault
one.
them. They just weren't great. But I do like how they kept Mega Evolutions in this game. It made it so it didn't feel like it was a one-time thing. But when there's better versions of a game out there, it's hard to put this any higher.
You know, I just realized I never actually played the newer games. I think the last one I played was the Unova region. Like, I've never played Gen 7, Gen 6 or whatever. I think I just stopped at Sinnoh. Damn.
I wanted to like Scarlet and Violet way more than I did. These games aren't bad, but if they waited a year and then released them, I think they would have been so much better. They feel like they were rushed in a lot of ways, especially graphically. These games have really bad performance issues, and it's noticeable right away. But performance issues aside, I don't like how they made this game an open world game and then didn't let you explore it in any order you want. Not being able to do things in the order you want made this game feel way more linear than it should. And don't get me started on the villain organization, they're just a bunch of kids who are antsy about being in school. But this
What?
game did have some really good things. I like terrestrialization a lot. I understand it's lazy, but at the end of the day, it's still fun. I think that this game had a really good idea of having a past version and a future version, and I think Area Zero towards the end made that even better. If these games had better performance and better DLC, I think they would have been way higher on this list. The old Pokemon games are fun, but they do not hold up as well as people think.
What?
Gold and Silver are here because when you play them, they are extremely dated. I like
Really?
these games, but at the end
Hey, asshole. You should have put Red and Blue down there first. They don't play as well as this one. This one still, I think, holds up. Like, I remember I was playing that not too long ago, like a few years ago, just to relive the memories. And actually, that's a lie. It was actually Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Oh.
I'm never going to pick these over Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
can understand why these games are lacking. This is the second generation of Pokemon, and you never think the sequel is going to do as well as the original.
Oh,
so they decided to prop it
so
up
much
with Kanto
better.
to make this game feel more complete. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it, because it could be more for you to play, but it could also be really bad pacing issues. I grew up with these games, but at the end of the day, they did not age well. And Red and Blue are on the same page. These games are at baseline
Okay.
fun, but they still suffer from the same thing that Gold
This
and Silver
one
did.
should have been
The only
last-
reason I'm rating these
first.
higher than Gold and Silver is because they were the original games and they started the whole series.
Bull!
If I had to pick between playing Gold and Silver and Red and Blue, I would probably pick Red and Blue 8 out of 10 times. These were the first Pokemon
Please.
games I ever played, but at the end of the day,
Please.
these games do not hold a candle to some of the other games in the series.
Yeah.
I'm combining Yellow and Crystal because they're both the best ways to play the Game Boy Color era.
Yeah!
Both of these games felt like a
Crystal!
better package than their source material, and I'm always going to pick playing these over playing the originals.
Yeah,
Pokemon Yellow
yeah.
especially is better because you can get all 3 starter Pokemon in one
Yep,
game, which
yes,
is
you
not
can.
possible in any other game. These are just definitive
Awesome.
versions of the other games, so I have to put them higher than the originals.
Yeah,
Diamond
okay.
and Pearl are really solid games, but when you compare them to other Pokemon games, there are a lot of flaws. Before
There
I
are.
get judo clapped, Gen 4 is my second favorite generation of Pokemon, but
Really?
these games just were not it. These games had really bad performance issues. It would take 4 years to because of
Yeah!
how slow it would move.
Yeah!
In this game, it was hard to navigate through. These games did a lot
I
of
totally
things really
agree.
well, though. It had a really good story, and it had the best soundtrack in all of Pokemon.
Yes.
I'm really glad they released Platinum, because these games
Yes!
love.
That was it.
Ultramoon are
That was it. That was the one I played. I played Platinum. Because I didn't play the other two. So, but I was able to get everyone. Thank God they made Platinum. And again, that game was still really freaking tedious, man.
great games. It just feels like a way better version to play Gen 7. Everything I said about the Aether Foundation and Team Skull still stand, especially in this game, but these games are just so much more fun to play.
Wow.
These games added content that it felt like a no-brainer to add, and it has one of the hardest Pokemon battles in Pokemon's history. There are things that Sun and Moon do better,
Really?
like having better encounters with the Ultra Beasts, but this game just feels like a better package. I'm glad I gave these games a shot because I almost didn't because of how disappointed I was with the originals. I think
Really?
my hottest Pokemon take is that Sword and Shield are really good games.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Please don't. I just started talking to a girl from Ancestry.com.
Pokemon on the Switch overall has had some lacking times, but I think that we judged this game a little too harshly. This was the first new Pokemon generation on the Switch, and I think that it did a really good job of making that transition. This game also
Sword and
suffers from
Shield.
graphical issues like Scarlet and Violet, but it's way less pronounced. The wild area suffers from graphical issues, but at the end of the day, the routes and cities look great. I think that Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing are hit or miss. I didn't think they were crazy, but I didn't think they were bad. This was also the first Pokemon game to implement DLC instead of a third title, and I think that was a good idea for this game. Before the DLC, this game felt really flat, and I don't like that they paywalled extra content, but if I had to pick between paying $40 for a DLC and $60 for a new game, I would pick the DLC. And I like both of these DLCs way better than Scarlet and Violet's, but I think Sword and Shield are extremely overhated. The switch up on Pokemon X and Y is unreal to me.
Really?
Trash on this game for not being a good game.
I
Now people are loving it.
remember.
And
I was literally just about to say that. Yo, people used to just shit all over this game. It was one of the reasons why I never played it. Because everybody was like hating on it so much. Even though I thought it sounded great. Oh. But now everybody loves it, I bet, huh?
Always liked this game, and I think it did a really good job of jumping from the DS to the 3DS. The biggest issue with this game is it was a big downgrade graphics-wise. The 3D models just did not look great at the time, they still don't to this day, where the sprites before it looked ageless. I like Team Flare as a villain organization, but they're pretty forgettable. And I think the whole AZ story arc was really nice, but Mega Evolutions really carried this game.
Yep.
I think it was the best way they could have introduced gimmicks to Pokemon. I just wish that they added more of them and they felt more unique. But I'm glad that people are starting to realize that these games are perfect middle-of-the-road Pokemon games. Ruby and Sapphire were the first games on the Game Boy Advance, and they were really fun. Seeing Pokemon in color like this for the first time was crazy. And I think both of these games did a really good job of making that leap. These games have a few issues, which makes them annoying to go back and play. In the mid to late game, you have to surf a lot.
But
I don't think that
Emerald.
Team Aqua and Team Magma were great villain organizations. Other than those, these games were great. They introduced double battles for the first time, they had a ton of great new Pokemon, and they had my favorite legendaries in the series. Even though there are better ways
AKA
to play
him.
these games still hold their own. Now, Fire Red and Leaf Green are...
Yeah!
I'm not a Gen 1er, but I do understand where they're coming from. But I think that Fire Red and Leaf Green are the best way to play the
Yes,
Kanto region.
yes.
They added a lot of new content like the islands. They were a lot more balanced than the originals. And they only made changes that made these games more accessible than the original. And it even had gambling. I love the Gen 1 games. I wouldn't say they're the best, but they hold their own extremely well. Legends Arceus was something I did not expect Pokemon to produce, but they did it,
What?
and it worked really well.
The
I
hell
didn't
is
think
this?
going back in time was going to be a mechanic that worked for Pokemon, but it did really well. I like how this game had the option of doing quests. It gave me a lot
Never
of
even
things
heard
to
of this
do, which
game.
made it really fun to play. I like how interactive the catching was. It was like a stealth simulator for Pokemon. But just like all the other games, this game had issues. I didn't like the Hisuian versions of most Pokemon. Like, I love Arcanine, but I don't like how this Arcanine looks like he ate a bunch of rocks. The gameplay does start to feel repetitive towards the end of the game, but I think this game did a really good job of trying something new and doing it well. I didn't think this game was going to do well because it had to compete with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but it ended up being the complete opposite. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire
Yo,
took
I
everything
forgot
that
to
was
play
great about
that.
Ruby and Sapphire and just made it so much better.
I
These
forgot to
remakes were
play
really
that.
fun, especially as someone who loves the Generation 3 games. I think these games did a perfect job of implementing new Pokemon mechanics into an old favorite. Adding Mega Evolution to this game was something that I didn't think was going to work very well, but they ended up knocking it out of the park. These games also benefit from being newer, so they had things like the physical and special split, which made these games feel like they were a lot fresher. And even though it was really short, I think having the Delta episode was just a great way to acknowledge old fans. It was really short, but it gave acknowledgement to the fans who had been playing for years. To this day, these games just amaze me, and they're one of the games I play through the most often. I really like Pokemon Black,
Yes.
Pokemon Black and White. I understand they're divisive, but they are still so fun.
yeah.
It stinks that we didn't get more games on this engine because these games look beautiful. The sprites
Don't
felt
they?
so alive, and all the battles felt cinematic.
Yo,
The problem with
getting
these games
an
is they
Anatsu?
didn't allow you to use Pokemon out of this region. So a lot of people got stuck using Pokemon they don't like, which alien.
The dragons in this generation are amazing, you know? Just, I used to take so much advantage of like so many of the dragons and Zek. Oh my God. Why do I have so many good memories? And I played this game in college. Like, whenever I didn't have my classes going on and like, you know, and I had some downtime, I didn't have to study, I was playing this game for a while. Like, it's crazy.
Alienated a large portion of the fan base. But for fans who could get over the hump, they got to experience the best story that Pokemon has ever had. Team Plasma was really great, and I think if these games just did things a little bit differently, they could have been way better. Pokemon Platinum was just a great game from start to finish.
Yes.
It really showed how good Generation 4 could truly
But still,
be. I'm really
feels
upset
so
that Diamond
slow.
and Pearl and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl couldn't be this good. This game took the elements that made Gen 4 so fun and just added on to them. This game made the story flow better, it made the game play better, and it added things that are so iconic to this day, like the Distortion World. This game really shows that if
there it
Pokemon
is.
takes their time and listens to the fans, they can make a game that's a
The
better
upside down.
version of what they currently have. Pokemon Heart Gold and
Yes!
Pokemon remakes. They took everything that was great about Generation 2 and they just added onto it.
Yes!
Having Pokemon follow you on your journey was such a great
Love
idea,
it.
and it added
Love this
so
game.
much connection to your teams and made it hard to put these games down even after you beat them. It had all of the content from Gold, Silver, and Crystal with 16 gyms and all of the world to explore and made it better. The fight with Red at the end is one of the best in the series,
Yes,
and
it
even though
is.
this game suffered from pacing issues, it still was one of the best Pokemon experiences that you could possibly
What
have.
pacing issues?
Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 just did everything right. It made it so you could use Pokemon that you wanted throughout the story. It was a
Yeah.
continuation of one of the best stories in Pokemon that held its own really well. And
This game, I think, it was like the only one where I actually caught like every single Pokemon in the game. Cause I was like, you could just, oh man, like, and then you can go back and fight trainers from like the different timelines and everything in different games. Oh!
it had an incredible post game that was full of content.
Yep.
These games just did so many things so perfectly, and it all combined it into one of the best Pokemon packages you can get. I didn't play these games until a few months after they came out, but these games did something so special. This game did a really good job at continuing what Black and White has set in motion, and if you haven't played it, I recommend you do. But the best Pokemon game has to be Pokemon Emerald. This game is a little bit dated, but if you play through this game, you'll understand why this game is held to such a high standard.
Good.
It took everything that was great about Ruby and Sapphire and improved upon it. It had a better story, better pacing, and just an overall better experience. There's a reason why this game is used for Nuzlocke and ROM hacks to this day. There's something about this game that draws in fans new and old, and I can understand why. Maybe it's because Rayquaza is one of the coolest legendaries of all time, but if you haven't
one of my
played
favorites,
Emerald, which is almost nobody, you should.
I have got to say, Emerald actually got me back into Pokemon. Like, what did I do? I stopped playing, obviously, after Gold and Silver. I heard about Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I didn't care. But then my friend Danny, he decided to introduce me. He just lent me his Emerald, his version of Emerald, and I think I was just getting out of college too, or out of high school or something like that. I think I just graduated high school. I think I was in junior college at the time, and I think I was in my other college at the time, and he gave that to me, and then I just started playing it, and I was like, oh, I love it. Yeah, seriously, Emerald, I do have to admit, is probably the best Pokemon game ever made. It really is. But I think Gold and Silver should have gotten a little bit more respect than what he gave. But whatever, Again, he still treats Hard Gold and Soul Silver with respect, because the Hoenn region Emerald 3, I think it may be the best game. My personal favorite remake, though, or Pokemon game, is Hard Gold and Soul Silver, because Gold and Silver were already my favorites. Then Crystal, just if only they made, it was like having true crystals. So yeah, except you couldn't catch Celebi. God damn it! I remember when I caught Celebi in the original Crystal. Oh, I was so excited. Did nothing, but yeah, so excited. It's just I love Pokemon, and it's nice to get into sometimes. But let me know what you guys think of this video, and should I do more Pokemon stuff? And please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And remember, sign up for my Patreon for my latest reactions to my latest videos. And I'll see you on the next episode.